I'm sitting down with Jason from Prepare4VC to talk a little bit about what they're doing at their startup community accelerator and thoughts around mental health of founders and entrepreneurs. Jason, it's great to be here. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here as well.
Yeah. So I'm not looking for any right or wrong answers today. Of course, I'm doing user research. I'm sure, very familiar with the process of how these things go. So just really trying to get information to build the best product. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No, excited to dig in here.
Okay, great. Well, let's start off with just a little bit about you and what your role is at Prepare4VC. We can also bring up the site for people to see.
Sure. Yeah. I founded Prepare4VC. I'm the CEO. We started about 6 years ago. As you know, my background's in the venture and angel investment space here in Boston, and really wanted to help take that investor's perspective to the entrepreneurs when they're going through the fundraising process. So yeah, we really started out on more of the one-on-one like consulting and advisory side, with pitch decks, business plans, financial projections, other materials that you need to go out on your investment round and gearing you up to get ready to pitch investors. And then, over the last year and a half or so, we've had a big expansion into a few other categories. We have a startup community space now where we host events, resources, everything from webinars to forum style connections. And we also have our flagship 16-week accelerator program that's 100% virtual and working directly with founders of early stage technology companies to help them gear up for demo day style events and pitch investors.
Love it. Lots to do. So what is your role at the organization? Like, I'm sure being a founder, you do a lot, but I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, a lot of it's around, meeting with new startups, seeing, where their pain points are, what they're strong in already, and where we can come in and support. A lot of it's, working directly with the companies as well, whether it's through our cohort programs or, the one-on-one support we give all the companies, and just working with our team on managing who takes control of each tasks and making sure everything keeps moving in the right direction for all the startups that we work with.
Great. And you talked a little bit about it already, but what are the various types of support that you offer for entrepreneurs?
Sure. Yeah, so cohort model is more like live sessions every week. We do Zoom sessions with all the startups, and it's everything from competitive analysis, market research, understanding who you and your team are as entrepreneurs, and when you have to make your next hire, how you can bring somebody else in to balance the scales and bring even more value to the company. It's gearing people up for the investment round, learning different fundraising terminology, what investors are actually looking for, and what separates one of the 1,000 pitch decks they're receiving in a year from the rest, and brings you down to that final group of 5 or 10 companies they end up investing in. So yeah, we do that through that model, and also through direct support on building out any of the materials for the companies, or connecting with them with other partners and providers that can help them be in a better position to fundraise over the next couple months heading into a round.
Okay, great. Do you think that the founders you work with need mental health support?
Yeah, actually, one of our big focus areas recently has been on the health and wellness side. There's basically, all entrepreneurs in general, there's no one really telling you when it's time to like shut off. There's no, 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 working hours. I mean, you can set your own or work with your team on that, but yeah, it's always it's challenging um, and we've been talking with a lot of entrepreneurs too on especially solo founders. You know, a lot of them don't have people to bounce bounce ideas off of, or even share what they're going through, that's going well, what they're going through and struggling with. And there's a lot of ups and downs in the startup life cycle, so definitely need either mental health support or just people in their community they can turn to um, get advice, share, and even just have that space to share what's been going on and get it out there.
Hmm. Do you currently do anything specific or offer anything to support the mental health of your founders?
Yeah, so right now, we actually, about 2 weeks ago, we launched our health and wellness portal. So right now it's a few segments of on demand content. So we have a nutrition expert who's actually one of the other. He's a startup grind director and runs a lot of events in the startup space, and really geared that program to working directly with entrepreneurs. We have a breathing and meditation segment and several other categories we're building out with other wellness experts in that space. So that's more on demand style content, like having videos and recordings and links to book, one on one time with any of the experts. But we're also looking for other resources and, partners to add value to all the startups in our community and provide other helpful spaces and yeah, resources to all the founders we work with.
Hmm. What problems are you seeing with founders making or not making progress?
In terms of the mental health side, or in terms of their startup?
In terms of their startup, just in general.
Okay. um, yeah, so I think, sorry, the majority of startups we're working with are coming in and actively seeking advice and feedback. The challenge always comes if you're just looking for somebody to validate that you're worth that you want somebody to help you prove that you're worth a $10 million company, and you're really not. But if you're out there, you're coming into anything we offer as like, how can we learn from this? How can we continue to build and grow, and also learn from the other entrepreneurs that are in that space? Then, we've seen a lot of success with all the startups we're working with. And there's always some point where it's like, there's I don't, not every company ends up like pivoting completely, but there's usually something that changes from your first version of your product or service to the final version. And, if we can help you figure that out earlier on rather than later, and, your customers are really the ones that are going to help you figure that out as well, which is great to see. We love to have all these customer interviews and just getting feedback as early and as often as possible. So I think that perspective of taking all the information in, you're not going to use every feedback and advice you get from 100 different areas, but being able to take everything in, filter it down, and choose what you want to implement and what you want to improve on in your business is really, something that's really necessary with all the startups, and some founders figure it out earlier than others.
Great. Yeah. Do you have any stories of a founder becoming disinterested or uninvolved with your program or startup? And do you know what caused this?
Yeah. Let's see. So I think it's more, uh, yeah, it's I'd say, 90% of the companies we work with, have made it all the way through our program. Probably more. It's only a couple of cases, and those were both really founders that were looking for something. They weren't looking for that advice and feedback going in. They were more looking for, like, let's just get in front of, let's just do the demo days, pitch investors, and weren't looking as much to change the what was going on in their company. So yeah, I think if you go in with the right mindset, and that's helped us gear up, as we do applications for our other cohorts. We're looking for founders with the right mindset, and we take in, we take that more into account now than we did in the past of what you're looking to get out of the program, setting the expectations up front, and making sure everyone's aligned. An accelerator is not the right fit for every company, and the consulting services aren't the right fit for every startup. So we're less about, like, selling a program rather than finding a good match for any company we work with now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just on the startup side too, definitely actually talked with a founder earlier this week that had another business, that didn't, he closed down a year or so ago, and it wasn't the right fit for him personally. He started it and had a great vision, but there's a lot of ups and downs in startups, and they didn't, most don't end up working out. But then he came up. He's working on a new exciting company that he's really passionate about, and even more passionate than his last startup. So yeah, I think sometimes it's finding the time when you realize it's not a good fit, like, and there's another opportunity you can go after that is more of a fit with what you're looking to achieve, and you can build out and make the second or third startup more successful than the last.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any stories of where a founder came to you with a non-business challenge?
Yeah, I mean, there's well, this is still business related, but there's, like, co-founder issues, more team dynamics, and navigating how you get everybody on the same page, and can be with your team, can be with investors, and really, like, different personality types coming together to and how you manage getting everybody interested in a common vision to move the company and business forward. And then that's more, the scenarios, they'll come to us, but we're also doing pretty active on the, like, Clubhouse audio chats, and we've hosted rooms where yeah, it's more of an open discussion there on, like, what's going on, positives to share throughout the week, and also challenges you're going through. And yeah, I mean, there's founders that have come up and shared, like, it's a tough week. We're keep getting no's from investors, or we can't figure out, like, we've had 10 partner meetings, and nobody's nobody's ready to come on board. And just more of, like, less of how do we fix that, but more of, like, how do we stay motivated, and how do we keep keep our team motivated. And it's good to have other startup founders like be able to empathize, and we can all relate to those scenarios and share some tips on what's worked for us and what's worked for other people in the room.
Nice. Yeah, I've been in some of those rooms there. It's good. Are you seeing burnout from entrepreneurs that you work with?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think it depends on the startup and where they are in the journey. Usually, we start with them really early on in the company. Most are going into their sort of pre-seed or seed stage round, and they're 100%. They're 100%. In their company. Usually, I mean, burnout can happen at any stage, but usually it's like a couple years in, nothing is progressing, and you're still hitting a lot of roadblocks. I mean, obviously, there's a variety of reasons why you can get burnt out. Sometimes you're even super successful and it's just too much day to day. And I've seen scenarios where it's like you'll take a step back, move towards another role in the company, or even an advisory role, and have somebody else come in as the CEO and run it full time from there. But yeah, definitely still a big challenge in the startup space. And as I mentioned earlier, it's like there's nobody telling you it's time to stop for the day, and there's always 500 tasks that you're working on as a founder. So yeah, really easy to get overworked or burnt out, and it's good to be able to have either a team with you that's supporting and like checking in on you, or having a community and other advisors and people helping out that can make sure everything's going well personally and not just professionally.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What does health and wellness of a founder look like to you?
Yeah, I think it's finding that balance of I mean, it's one part, it's like finding a work-life balance, and also being able to I think it find something you're interested in and that works for you personally. Like um some people really love running, some people hate running, some people love doing other activities, and um nutrition is a big thing is like a big piece of the wellness component for some people, where others really focus on I don't know, yoga, breathing, meditation. So I think it's hard to do everything. There's a lot we should all be focused on, but finding those 2 or 3 most important things for you right now, and if they become part of your everyday life, like, and it's you have room for more, then move on to the next thing you can add. But yeah, I think that's one piece, and then just being able to have that support network of um, people you trust, or people you can turn to, or applications you trust and can turn to as well, where um, you have that space where people understand exactly what you're going through.
Mm-hmm. How is your program funded?
It is right now. We do all our community side is all free programs and events, and then our consulting and accelerator programs are paid equity free programs. So everything we do is like fixed price models, and we're in discussions with a few sponsors right now as well. But for the most part, it's basically fixed price packages and services.
Mm-hmm. How do you attract founders to apply for your program?
Yeah, a lot of founders we've met throughout the throughout the years as we built up our community, our newsletter, our event groups and everything like that. So it's having those check-ins, seeing what's most important to them right now, seeing if it's a good time to join an accelerator, and we're less I'd say we're less sales oriented and more focused on, we know it's a good time for you. We've seen you in the community, we've seen the types of questions you're asking, and the success or struggles that you had in your startup, and find an area we can come in and help. And if that's the accelerator, then that's what we're presenting and showcasing to the startup founders. And yeah, we've also done some other like pitch events and initiatives to get to meet a lot of companies at the same time, bring them in, and get to learn get to learn about their startups and see if it's a good fit for a follow-up meeting to have them apply to our program.
Okay. Would you allocate budget to a mental health support platform for your founders?
Yeah, so we think we think it's really important. It's something we would we'd allocate either if it fits under our accelerator, or if there's a way to bring it to the whole community. It depends on, for us, it's like if it fits, budget wise, and just something we can offer to a paid program, or if it's something, we can offer to a full community of, 800 entrepreneurs. But yeah, we're definitely interested in providing as much support to as many founders as we can.
What KPIs do you track?
Yeah, so we check in with all the founders, we've worked with in the past on all of their progress and success. Anytime they've raised a funding round, anytime they have new press releases, and we love seeing all that progress and sharing it, and being a part of their success story. And within our network, we're also tracking like a bunch of metrics, especially on the community side, in terms of engagement, activity on events, and who's most active on like messaging other members or interacting with content. So yeah, those pieces are really important to us, and also just tracking. I'd say tracking like what seems to be most impactful to all the companies, whether it's a post that people are engaging with, or a different program, like having those active polls in our network too, of what founders are looking for, and being able to gear everything else we offer from here to what the startup founders actually need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so a mix of like qualitative and some quantitative metrics there.
Yeah. Are you aware of any stats you can share about the mental health and depression of entrepreneurs?
Not off the top of my head. I just, yeah, no, I think, I know it's a huge concern, and it's been more from discussions rather than, yeah, like more of the stories I've heard, and, we all have, yeah, I mean, I know founders that have had plenty of difficult times, and yeah, that's more of our reason rather than like the numbers and the size of the industry that we're really looking to help with this problem. But yeah, would love to, dig in more on the numbers and market size and everything, and the issues with there as well.
Yeah. How do you decide what external programs or services you partner with, and what does that process look like?
Yeah, basically, we have two sides. We have what we call resource partners and member growth partners. So resource partners is organizations we bring in because they add a lot of value to the community. Not to like, and they have a product, they have a service that we feel is really going to benefit from, or it's going to benefit all the startups in our space, whether that's the full community or any of our programs and clients and startup participants. The other side, member growth, is other organizations that really act as other organizations that have a member base and a following of their own that we think partnering together and building up a stronger community together is really beneficial to both sides. So yeah, we have that's our approach to it, and then the way we structure it is we go through what's called our onboarding process with partners is really like we'll do discovery calls and meetings, and then we form what's called a collaboration enablement document. It's like less of a legal structure and more of basically it's more of a conversational document. We work with back and forth on the partners on getting everything that would be super exciting to both parties and figuring out, having a working document that we put together before any real like legal framework on creating something that is going to make everyone, both sides work with, benefiting us coming together and joining in. And yeah, the way we've worked with partners is a combination of just offering their resources to the community, doing webinar events, doing more on-demand style content and one of the portals I mentioned, and also getting involved in our accelerator as either mentors or advisors or other resources to those founders.
Okay. Do you know about how people are getting mental health support these days?
It's not uniform like from us, the outside of having access to our portal. So some have great support networks, others don't really have any network at all at the moment. And yeah, that's something where we are looking for partners that can help on that side. I lost you for a second.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, great. How many founders are typically working with you at any given period of time?
Yeah, we take 6 to 10 in a cohort, and we'll have another several at a time. We're working on more one-on-one style with, and then we have 800 in our Mighty Networks community and a few thousand on our Clubhouse group.
How do you decide what areas to focus on for your program?
Yeah, we focus on so some of the we focus on basically an overview of everything you need to get geared up for fundraising rounds, and that's the basics of everything from everything from competitive analysis and market research to understanding the types of questions investors ask, really the storytelling and branding component, getting people excited about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how they can get involved. But the big differentiators for us, I'd say, is what we call the self-efficacy component, and that's understanding who you are as an entrepreneur, who your team is, who like should be the next people to join in with you, what are the strengths and weaknesses. It's understanding communication styles when you're pitching, if you're on if you're on a Zoom call versus in an in-person meeting versus on Clubhouse, like how each of those, how you can get people excited in each of those experiences, and what's needed to get that style across, and also understanding the different personalities of investors you're pitching, where some people are going to be more like want the agenda set up front and are going to want everything sort of outlined at the beginning as quickly as possible. Others are going to want to sit back and try and ask one or two questions that might throw you off guard, and being prepared for all of those scenarios, and also understanding like some of the tactics that go into whether it's pitching a customer, pitching an investor, or pitching a partner, how you manage different scenarios there is really big focus of our program.
Mm-hmm. Any feedback on my user research questions? Do you feel like I'm asking good questions? Should I ask other things?
No, I think you asked really good questions, and so yeah, it's gonna. I mean, I'd keep it pretty consistent, so that way you can compare responses from one person to the next, and if you make any changes from these, then then you can go back and gear the next set of interviews based off of changes you've already implemented or changes you've already made decisions on. But yeah, I think that the style is really good, and you're getting to understand the framework of everyone's business, and then see how it applies to everything you're doing at QUOKA.
Mm-hmm. Can you refer me to 2 more people that are in similar roles as yours?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, happy to make a couple connections.
Great, thank you. And do you want to be added to my mailing list? There's no pressure. I know we get a ton.
That's great.
Okay, I'll make sure to do that. Anything else we should know? Do you want to do any announcements for people that may watch this playback?
We're just happy to invite anyone into our community space. So it's on our main website, prepare4vc.com, and there's a link to the community at the top. We use a platform, Mighty Networks, and it's free to join in that space. And actually saw you posted an event, a couple events in there as well. So yeah, anything you guys have coming up, love to share and help promote as well.
Awesome. Yes. And I see you guys are going to be hosting some rooms in Entra, which is very exciting.
We are. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I talked with Sully recently, and it seems like a great platform. So definitely checking out some of their pitch feeds, and looks like there's a lot going on there. Ready to dive in.
Very cool. Well, thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate it, going on this journey, and it helps to learn all that I can along the way. And thanks for the work that you guys are doing at Prepare for VC to support entrepreneurs. And I've just felt nothing but welcomeness from you and Steve and the whole team over there. So,
Oh, it's been amazing to have you in our community, and yeah, happy to help in any other way.
sounds good. We'll see you around. Thanks so much again.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.